right, everyone. Welcome to episode 34 of That Range Life, a show lately quite often about golf. Not sometimes.
Yeah, only about golf.
Look at us. What a professional golf media outlet we have become. I don't know if I'm proud of us or I'm disappointed, but I'm one of them. We'll figure it out as we go. Some housekeeping to get things started, obviously, as we've been doing. Please, if you're into these videos or just enjoy listening to us sound like a couple of idiots every week, once a week, first and foremost, we appreciate the support. But if you could hit the YouTube thing if you're looking at it from my page, or
right there,
right here somewhere,
right there.
If you are on Kris's YouTube page, hey, if you haven't yet, do me another favor and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up on this, or at this point, give me a thumbs down. I'm just happy to see you participating.
We've been on a good thumbs up hot streak, I feel like, lately.
How many of them are ourselves? That's my first question. Anyway, if you could do all that stuff, hey, maybe even leave a comment. Just saying, that'd be great. And while you're at it, because you love the internet, obviously, go over to Twitter or Instagram and at Kris McEwen and at Range Heroes. Give us a follow there. We'd really appreciate it. I'm going to tell you right now, we've been talking. Me and Kris and I, we've been talking. Doing a lot of this. Like, what's with the hand gestures? I feel like since I've changed my angle and new cameras and stuff, I see more and I want to do stuff. Anyway, we've been talking. We have, I don't know how much, unfortunately, we are nearing, even though it doesn't seem like it, we are nearing the end of our golf season in the Chicagoland area. I don't see the two of us together doing a ton of winter COVID traveling to record destination material. And you know what? Even without COVID, we probably still wouldn't. But we're going all in. We're going to start putting more stuff up on Kris's YouTube channel here. Bring That Range Life Productions into one place for our video media. Our nephew Josh was at my house this evening. And I had a wild evening of visitors, by the way, but we don't need to talk about that here. But Josh was over picking up his clubs for me that he left while he was in the jungle with Bear Grylls recording material. And we're going to probably spend the winter doing some planning, thinking, whatever. Who knows? Maybe we'll squeak in a few gems here and there. But we're going to have more content with real internet media, guys. We're going to get some real, some new... Not real, because it's the content Kris is doing is already real, but we're going to get some different stuff. We're going to get more coming to you at Kris McEwen on YouTube. So subscribe, man. Check it out. Who doesn't want to see content from myself and our nephew, Josh? That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's get down to business. Before we get started here, I want to point out, you can't really see it in the dark. Maybe I can do this. A little brighter there.
Yeah.
That sick Tiger Woods print that's been swapped into the wall.
It's nice.
That's from our good friends at Muni Kids. That's why I am purposely going full Muni Kids t-shirt, hat, billboard. Not just because of that print, but getting that print up this week. I had a friend from Pittsburgh who found themselves in Portland in this past week and swung by the Muni Kids shop.
Oh, nice.
What a weird collision of worlds is all I'm going to say. Yeah. So I'm going all in with the Muni Kids support at Muni Kids. I think on all the social media, I don't think there's any underscores or anything like that.
Nope. Yep.
And Muni Kids, is it munikids.com or munikidsgolf.com? Try them both. Just try them both. Check them out. Great stuff. I just like the guys in general. They've been on the show. They're good people.
They are.
Check them out. All right. It's that time. Kris, you ready for gear talk?
Ready.
Let's do some gear talk. All right. First item of business on Gear Talk this week. This is actually a 2-week-old review, I think, at this point. I'm not going to do our usual math, unless you really want me to, of when the show posts and whatever. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, somewhere in there, we posted a review for the Tour Edge, another mouthful review, Tour Edge Exotics EXS Pro Blade irons.
Yes, right.
We also talked about the Tour Edge Exotics EXS Pro blade Wedge this week. So as of this review going up this week. So that went up this week. I figured, especially because we just had John Claffey on and been spending a lot of time talking Tour Edge lately, and not just because we like them, but because it's just we've had heavy content with them. I put it off the week and I talk about both of them at the same time. So let's get into that. Let's start talking about these irons. In terms of like wow me about these irons, it's really not a ton to say. It is a blade iron, a muscleback blade iron. And by design, a very traditional look, very clean, minimal branding, dual chrome, meaning it's polished chrome and on the face, part of it's like a matte chrome. It's really, really good looking. I wouldn't tell you like super thin top line, but it is a compact profile. You need it to be compact and a medium-ish top line. Now, here's how these differ from those Tommy Armour Silver Scott 915s you have back in your office there off camera. The leading edge of this iron and the soles are a little more, the soles like more radius like that front to back. Okay. Little moon shape, if you will. Yeah. Not a ton. And then the sole, like, then if you looked at it like perpendicular head on like this, it also is more radiused, right? So that way, instead of having like a super straight edge that'll just dive into the ground, pair that with a little more of a rounded leading edge, it will glide through the turf cleaner. So that's a little more modern, but I mean, classic blades have had that implemented for quite some time. So it's very traditional, great looking. Now, here's the difference. Usually your blade irons are designed to have these low ball flights with highish spin, medium, but they're not super friendly. They don't get in the air easy. Now, if you look at the back of a blade, muscleback blade iron, they have a fatter spot in the bottom where you want the center of gravity, and it's thinner toward the top, right?
Right.
There's just a tiny bit of extra mass in the bottom, and it lowers the center of gravity a little bit. What this means to the average person is it's now going to be easier to get, and you're seeing this more in modern blades, it's now going to be easier to get launching that thing higher into the air and get a, not necessarily a high flight, but definitely like not a just built-in low, difficult to launch piercing flight.
Yeah.
Could you still hit that shot? Absolutely. That's the whole point of a blade iron. They're workable. You can shape it, flight it, do everything you want to. And with these, you certainly can. Now, keep in mind, these are for shot makers. In fact, it's like they couldn't draw it up any better. These irons get released. It's another one of those limited editions straight from the Tour Van prototypes they're doing. Tim Petrovich goes out with Phil Mickelson's maiden Champions Tour tournament, getting tons of golf press. And there's Petrovich on everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was playing these irons in his bag and putting on a friggin' clinic. And on any given day, he's running away with the tournament with the way he's playing. Unfortunately, he ran into something called Phil Mickelson. So,
right.
And I got no problem watching Phil go out and dominate the Champions Tour is awesome. And I'm not a Phil guy. But like he's a pro player. He grew up, I'm sure, on classic, difficult to hit clubs, but with tons of feel, tons of playability. That's what these irons are. Now, I don't feel like here it's typical Tour Edge, right? The club's fantastic. It's a great forged iron. They mill the faces so they're extra precise, where the short irons have sharper, maybe like a sharper groove. The long irons have more grooves but compact. And you can go read the review at driverangeheroes.com to get into that technical detail more. But by doing all the CNC milling to finish, they can keep their quality control tighter. Just dial in the irons that much easier, right? Let the machine do it instead of just, stamping a forge press.
Right.
But they're like, most people are thinking, Mura, insert Titleist, whatever, right? For their forged irons, you don't necessarily think forged blades, I should say. You don't necessarily think Tour Edge. I will tell you now, having hit them a few times, they should be in that conversation with anybody. And I mean,
okay,
what the big selling point is to differentiate them. And it's like in that, all of those clubs are all mirroring 1986 McGregor VIPs and 1970s Hogans, let's be honest, right? So it's one of those things, like if you want to get forged irons and you're really in on the Tour Edge bandwagon, that might be the draw to you. But if you're like, hey, look, I want to get in, get some forged blades and I'm open to anything, there's by no means should you go, it's Tour Edge, they're not at the same level. Like, they are fantastic forged blade irons, hand to God. I'm not, as we've covered, and we'll discuss more. I suck at golf right now. And so I was like, hey, John Claffey, as much as I love these irons, I have no business with them. So they will not be going to my bag anytime soon. But that's not because of the club. That's because yours truly is terrible at golf right now. Now, along those lines, and you have a set of these in your bag, and you've spoken to it, especially on the hit podcast, Golf Origin Stories.
That's right.
You have been playing the Tour Edge Exotics EXS Pro Blade wedges now.
Yep.
And I have been I'll just say I've been rotating them, because at this point I'm like, I'll put a hockey stick in my bag if that'll help.
Right.
It's a pretty seamless transition from the irons themselves into these wedges. Like, they fit looks wise into the set great, and you don't feel like in my usual setup, my wedges and my irons look very different. They're very different clubs. In this case, man, you're just flowing straight from that 3, 4, 5 iron straight into those wedges perfectly. Now, while those wedges or the irons are very compact, neat, whatever, the wedges get a little round, not quite shovelly, but they're a little rounder, a more full profile.
For sure.
There's a reason I probably could have, and I didn't check my sources on this and get this confirmed. But here's what I suspect. And what they tried to do with this design, if you look at production meeting right now, give me a good close shot of the back, and you're going to see there's a middle line milled out of it.
Okay, right now it's on the screen.
It's on the screen. So you see this middle line milled through the center in the back. Now, I don't know to what degree. Frankly, I just don't have the means to test it. And that's fine. They do. They have their good friend Ted. That's
right.
The Tour Edge. Oh, it's driving me crazy. Anyway, it's a robot, right? They're Iron Byron.
Right.
The thing's awesome, by the way. I've seen it in action. It's so fun. They by milling that strip out of the center, it raises the center of gravity in the head of the wedge. And by keeping it rounder like that, that helps that cause. And now you can switch to a picture of like a dress to see that round profile. Okay. All right. So it's rounder, and that helps them raise the center of gravity higher in the face. What does that do, you might ask? Well, you're 90 yards out, you hit a full swing and you miss it right in the rough. You hit it off the toe, high in the face, you lose tens of yards, literally. And then even if you hit a green or something, it's like your spin, there's just no spin to it whatsoever. By raising that center of gravity in that face, it makes it launch lower, a little more piercing when you hit it higher in the face, and adds more spin to it. So all of a sudden you have a little more forgiving of a wedge, a little more player friendly, and it's helping you shoot darts. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Does it mean it's forgiving? Yeah. Depends who you are as a wedge player. I am not a great wedge player, so I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, this is super forgiving compared to all the forged wedges on the market, right?
Yeah.
But in theory, it should be. It's also, I would say, I do think by definition, it should be more forgiving on your short game around the green. But again, I'm a mortal wedge player. I can't tell you, I would be like, oh, wow, this thing is like lights out different. But that's to me where a really good wedge player, I think, would really go, oh, I can kind of do a little more with this thing. And it helps me control that wedge around the green instead of hitting that like short blub, whatever. Where you're like, wow, I thought that would roll out and it didn't, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a good wedge player, like you're gonna get nice, clean, crisp, milled faces. They're great. You won't have a problem zipping the ball around like you already do. So from that perspective, pretty impressive performance. Last but not least, when you're talking wedges, I don't know what, everybody has a different term for it. It's like the T grind from Tour Edge or the M grind. Some brands, it's a C grind. I don't know what Callaway's is, but everybody's got a grind where it's like like a C shape, right? Where you have some heel relief, some toe relief, and basically you can leave it open, close it, and you have that shape in the bottom to hit whatever kind of wedge shot you're looking to hit. Want to say it's 54 degree through 60s, like 14 degrees of bounce. So that's quite a bit of bounce in a 60-degree wedge.
Yep.
But I would argue all these, I can see where a pro's like, I want for especially tight lies from 60 yards in, I want my 60 degree to have 4 degrees of bounce, and we're not pros. So 14 degrees of bounce is probably a nice number. Just saying. And go ahead, tell me I'm different. I don't care. I find them to be, maybe it is at 14 degrees of bounce, but they're very nice out of bunkers. Little sort of aside where they really impressed me. But ultimately, great forged wedge that's just a little different than everybody else in the wedge market, which is they're all pretty much the same shape, right? The same unforgiving tour level performance that hasn't changed in so many years. I can think of like one other brand that puts out a pretty forgiving wedge that really differs from the rest of them, and we'll save that for another show. But good wedge, a nice wedge from Tour Edge.
Yeah, I can tell you from I've had them in the bag now for 3 weeks or so. So that's actually because of last week. I played 6 rounds with them. So I probably played about 10 rounds with them. And I can just tell you, just as I don't know the specs like you do, but from playing them, I mentioned this to John too, is like I can feel the end of the club in my hands a lot better than I have before. Like just the weight, for whatever reason, makes me feel like I can feel where the face is on those wedges. It's funny that you mentioned the flight, because I remember hitting a shot early on and kind of panicking like I had just like sent the ball way over the green on a wedge shot, on a full wedge shot, but it didn't. It went the distance I wanted to, but because of that piercing flight off the face, it felt like, oh shit, I just cleared the screen. It actually hung up and then gave me a little zip back on it, which was nice.
You didn't get zip back. Shut up.
You don't know me. When's the last time you played a round of golf with me, mister?
October last year.
Yeah, but anyways, and then the other piece of it too is I do like to manipulate my wedges a little bit with my chip shots and things, and yeah, that I had the two wedges I have. I feel like I can do whatever I want with, whether it be I don't take a lot of full wedge swings very often, but yeah, in the sand. Totally, that's a great call. They're really good.
That 14 degrees of bounce on that 60-degree wedge is it's pretty nice in the bunkers.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard that on Golf Origin Stories when you're talking about how you really like to manipulate your wedges. I'm like, oh, we're a wedge artisan now, chrismckeown.com. Okay.
I do though. I like to play around with. I like to open the face up a lot. I like to because what I do instead of, I think more often than changing my swing speed necessarily, is I change the loft.
If I wasn't so goddamn bad with my wedges, I would have really given you a hard time about that when I first heard of that on Origin Stories. But I'm like, who am I to say anything to anyone? So I just didn't. All right, let's move on to. I want to reiterate, both of them are like tour level clubs, right? And let's not get crazy. Low handicap clubs, you need to be a ball striker. That's what wedges are a little different, but I would argue that's a problem in the industry with wedges. But they are made to have tour precise forged feel. Both of them have the milled faces and grooves for tighter tolerances, and gives them the ability throughout a set to manipulate the grooves to be a little different, instead of being like, you have one groove from 4-iron through lob wedge that we just go like, this is how forges work, and put stamp big grooves into the face of hot steel. And then again, by seeing all of it at the end, it gives them the ability to be like, we got exactly the same shape every time, exactly the same grooves every time. It just changes all the tolerances. Quality control, Kris. There's another brand out there that's been acting like they're the first brand to ever do that, but they're not. Let's move on to a shaft. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So John Heisey of DrivingRangeHeroes.com is our graphite design guy. Big classic graphite design fanboy. And I mean that in a good way. He was right age, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, Tiger Woods plays graphite design. I want to play graphite design. Yeah. Then fast forward in the Driving Range Heroes days, he's like, oh, all right, I can do graphite design. So he got the new Graphite Design Tour AD HD. And I want to say HD stands for hyperdrive. And they were a band. They had a lot of hits in the early 2000s. They were a brand that he didn't say this, I'm saying it, frankly rode I think that Tiger Woods and other success train for quite a while. And you've seen this with a lot of the shaft companies that have been around a while, where it's sort of like, you can't keep doing the same shaft. The industry's evolved. How are you keeping up? So for the last couple years, and don't get me wrong, the stuff was good. It was good. But the last couple years, maybe literally 2 years, they've been putting a lot of focus into revamping some of those classic designs and then adding some new ones into the mix. And ADHD fits into that. Now, the other thing, right? We've talked about it a few times on the show, is club heads have evolved a ton and the golfers have evolved a ton. Your Brooks Koepkas, your Brysons of the world. They needed, the shafts were like the last thing to update in the industry. So that's the hyperdrive supposed to be like, it's for the new generation of golfer, the new generation of gear. And this one is some of their shafts are pretty known for like a fluid feel and pretty smooth with a lot of kick. Now this one has that smooth fluid feel, but it's a lot firmer than things they've had in the past. So for the Brookses of the world, right, with the big aggressive hard swings, this is going to keep up with them.
Okay.
And you go, well, that gets stout boardy. Like, don't get it twisted. Again, a brand known for like really good precision feel in their shafts. This has that. Like, it has the signature graphite design feel. It's holding up more. It is firmer. The coolest thing in my mind, and I don't say this often because like, who cares? But I love the color scheme of this shaft. It's like I wouldn't even know what hue of blue, but it's like lightish, aqua-ish mix, like just a hint of that mixed into it, but it has a sparkle to it on a white base, like almost like a pearl white base. So slick. Like, it just looks so good. So I wanted to point that out. It's a really good looking shaft. Where John has been having a lot of success playing this, and I don't know if you remember, but playing with John, he likes to play, I don't want to call it like a bunt swing by any means, but he likes that low kind of bunty draw that he can just unload on, keep under the wind and have it run. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's automatic with this shaft. He can just sort of swing away at it with that swing and still get kick out of it, but keep it low and just set it down that low running path and still get enough carry. Don't get me wrong, but those low burning shots are like automatic for him with it. And I have a note here. I can't remember after reading his review, but it just screams like just hitting lasers off the tee. So I'll be interested in knowing him to see if that one sticks around. I forgot what model it is, but they put a new one. XD, 80 XD came out late last year, and he really liked that one a lot too. So we'll see. The problem is John's like the rest of us here. He's a big tinkerer. And so, I mean, I'll just say last time I played with him, he had 3 of the same not even like swapping the shafts on. He had 3 of the same drivers in his bag and probably hit different setups every other hole. So we'll see. But it's a pretty slick shaft. It's kind of neat to see these guys after so long evolving and doing new things now. So
yeah,
hey, we'll see what they come up with next, I guess. All right, Kris. Yep, that was gear talk. All right, Kris. Speaking of gear talk, I'm going to use this as a follow me here, a segue to quick update. I still suck at golf. I'm so bad. And the same. So even people who have been like a fairly loyal supporter to equipment wise, and it's like the gear has been by my side. I'll just be specific. VA shafts, man. Victor treats me well. And like on top of that, the gear has legitimately performed for me, and I've been swearing by them for a couple of years now. And I got the new VA Nemesis. I'm like, oh my god, it's awesome, and it is awesome. It's a great shaft, but I don't know what it's up here. Something just going wrong with me. Can't keep it, as I've said, can't keep a driver in play to save my life. Well, thankfully, the golf club graveyard exists. So, I had today was, as of recording this on a Sunday, was my father-in-law's birthday, 70th birthday. Happy birthday to him. And I said, so we were like, I said, hey, why don't I take you golfing for your birthday? So we went and golfed today, and I had same story. Can't get off the tee, and then by the turn, my brain's just fried from fighting everything. Like I can't hit pitching wedges. I can't hit anything. I can basically hit like wedges and putter, and that's it. Which don't even get me started on that. The course we've had a lot of rain this week.
yeah.
But like they clearly were still watering the course. I mean, I was taking like literally that's probably about 18 inches, but hitting my ball fine, and then just having an 18-inch divot peel out of the fairway. And then you look at the club and it looks like you dipped it in like a tar pit. Right. What is happening here? And then you come up short, and it should be like pretty crispy the way the greens are, and you're like hitting out of a swamp with your wedges. So it was miserable, and the greens they had a tournament later in the day, and the greens were just like, I mean, even playing private courses this year, like I haven't seen greens this glassy yet. And then with the pins in bad spots, like putting with, in the whole foursome, we probably had 23 putts in a foursome. It was impossible. And I'm not saying I'm the best putter in the world, but like I consider myself decent in the sense that like you can almost rest assured I'm not going to have a 3-putt in a round, right?
Yeah.
Not today. I mean, I don't know how many I had, but I had a notable amount myself. So I can't get off the tee. Well, no one has going to be fighting this. I came prepared, not quite to the point John Heisey did in Gear Talk, but I brought going through, and this is after a driving range session of testing stuff. I'm like, okay, well, 2 of these actually I was able to control a little bit. All right, they'll be on the short list. And then I loaned a bunch of shafts to Jay of Sub 70 Golf, and I met up with him real quick on Friday to pick up a bunch of those. I'm like, hey, he's like, I'm not going to use them. I'm like, well, I need one out of there because it went pretty well when I reviewed it. It might be in the running for saving my driver game. So I added that one in the mix. So I left today with 3 extra shafts in my bag. Now, it was still a disaster, still played terrible, but coming out of it, I have a Project X shaft right now. Oh, and don't get me wrong, figuring out, like trying other things. This isn't over. There's still more that are going to get a shot, right? I got a VA Drago that served me well in other clubs. I have that ready to go. But actually 2 shafts that I have reviews coming up for made the cut and showed promise. Like, well, I've hit a few good shots with these today. They might stick around, but man, I'm getting to a point where the best thing that could happen in my golf game this year is winter. Just give me the winter. Shut it down.
All right.
I am so bad. So bad. How'd you play this weekend?
I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, you saw my reply to your tweet, I bet, and you're like, all right, never mind.
Yeah, well, did you see my reply to that reply?
No, because I was busy forgetting that
we were going to do a show.
Right.
No, but I think you missed the point of the tweet. The point of the tweet was I had a sensational front and a terrible back. You just had a bad round of golf.
No, I didn't miss a point. I was just mad.
Oh. But yeah, I had a very similar experience because I played in Winnetka, and Winnetka is already a swamp in general. Before rain even falls, it was always a swamp. They built on top of a swamp. So when it rains, it's real wet. So it was real wet out there. But yeah, I shot a 38 on the front and a 46 on the back. Mm-hmm. Just rolled through the front, man. I was, my putter got hot and I was making, I had 0 3-putts for the day. I had on the front, I had four 1-putts for 3 pars and a birdie. So I was just kind of raring along, just playing golf, and then made the turn at 10. And it was like, it wasn't even like a slow sort of decline. It was like immediate wheels fall off from the get-go, from the jump.
Right.
Because I ended up tripling 10. It was a par 5. So I tripled that, which partly is to blame. I partly blame you for, because I smoked a drive it was in the fairway. And so I'm like, well, Bill Bush always gives me shit about not going for it. And I'm within a hybrid range of being on and 2.
When have I ever given you shit for not going for a par 5? Yes, not hitting a driver, I might give you shit for it. I never give you shit about not going for a par 5.
That is not true. That is 100% true.
I'm like, hey.
When I told you I've never had an eagle, or I've never had an eagle, you're like, oh yeah, that's because you're always laying up. Like, you never really go for it. You never go for 2. You never go for it at 2.
No, the way you're making it sounds like when we play together, I'm like, you're not going to go for it?
No, this was like the old podcast days, I think.
Oh, that's possible. No, that is possible. Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
So anyways, I tried, I went for it in 2 and I topped it. It hit about 40 yards. So then I grabbed a 5-iron, topped that, which got me to about 160. So I took an 8-iron and I towed it into the water. And before you know it, I'm a +3 after 10.
I think I'd be more sympathetic if that wasn't way too relatable for me right now. No, yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that was 10, and then other than that, it was like a pretty mellow round. Like, I still had a chance to break 80 late, like on 15. I'm like, yeah, I think I might be able to do this. I can maybe par out, maybe steal a birdie or something. I had a par 3 left, and then coming up on 18, I hit OB off the tee and ended up doubling that, and that was the end of the day. So
the problem is, to me, it's like it doesn't make me go, oh, geez, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's golf to me these days.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I played by myself, which was cool. And so I just walked the course and listened to some music and hit some good shots, and it was a good round. And I'm going to go do it again tomorrow morning somewhere.
Are you working these days?
I'm on vacation beginning tomorrow, mister.
Oh, well, it's a fair question. You're playing all these weekday rounds. Like, can you make this? I'm like, no.
You knew this. God, you never listen to me. You never.
I listen, but you act like I have it all written down on my itinerary. No.
This is the Kansas City week. This is me in Kansas City this week.
Okay. Now, like, I knew that. To me, though, like, as far as I know, when I asked you about that, 3 weeks had passed. I was shocked you weren't in Kansas City while you weren't. You know what I mean?
You kept asking. You've asked me every week up to this week.
Yeah.
For the past month, like, you're going to Kansas City this week, right? Like, nope.
Yeah.
So yeah, we took the whole week off. So tomorrow I'm going to go play golf in the morning. We actually hit the road Tuesday.
I was going to say, and you leave Tuesday. So I remembered that.
See? All right.
It just doesn't mean I knew when. When you did it, you left Tuesday.
Anyways, the golf game, this is how it usually goes. Like, I usually get my shit together towards the end of the season, and then it snows and I have to start all over.
I have a post, and I still have to take pictures for it. I wrote it last year, and it's like the end of golf season curse. And this is going to probably be the first year I don't have it, but it's like I start the year strong, and then I like slowly get bad, and then I come to the end of the year, and I'm talking like, we can play into December, pretty comfortably into December around here. Mm-hmm. And it's like December 12th, and I go out and break 80. And I'm like, I finally got this driver. Whoa, figured out my wedges are back. All right, cool. I can play golf again. And then it's like, good news, a blizzard and sub-zero temperatures for the next 6 months. So I call it the end of golf season curse. And then, of course, it's like the last 4 or 5 rounds of the year, drives my handicap way down. I start the year and I shoot like 2 really good rounds because I've, I don't have high expectations. And one, like, okay, this is normal at a, average round. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you're a +3 handicap. And I go, well, I can play at about a 15. So,
Right.
But I don't play enough. So then it's like the end of golf season curse kills me every year. Every year.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get hot. I have one more golf trip where we play a Ryder Cup format. And so I'm just trying to be ready for that. I think that's in like 3 weeks or something.
Where's that at?
Island Hills, Michigan.
I don't even know where that is.
It's kind of up north. It's like I'm sure it's like 3 hours from here probably.
That's not up north. That's like maybe a third of the way up the state if it's only 3 hours.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What is it? Pure Michigan, bro. Pure Michigan. Man, I tell you what, as I'm sitting here, you'll notice week 2 of my new seating angle. I'm not trying to brag.
I know. Look at you, man. Fancy.
My favorite. Well, I'm not.
You've really embraced the, for someone that really didn't want to do any of this initially, you've really come around and embraced it. Well, and gone all in on it.
I wouldn't say I've gone all in, Mr. Yellow hue to his light with the city backdrop and LEDs around his couch. You've changed shot angle more than anyone.
It's true. I'm even standing up now so I can move around. Look how mobile I am. In case,
So my equivalent is, so you see me sitting here, I couldn't do this before what I'm about to do before really this weekend. Watch this. I did so much cleaning in here. I threw away 5 cardboard boxes of differing shapes, not like huge, right? The one huge one's actually still here, but that's like how
many years? Like what was the oldest?
It's not even like how many years. It'll be like, I had a couple boxes of golf balls shipped to me for something, and then real quickly, like, get something out of the way. Here's a good example. So when the Nikon Pro Stabilized came out, I don't know about you, I know you got one too.
Yeah.
Nikon sent me like a little care package that had like lens wipes and just various things like that. Well, I'm like, I don't, where am I going to keep this stuff? What am I going to, not packing this in a golf bag. And really most of it's like better for my camera. I don't have like a big camera bag because I'm not a professional photographer. I have one extra lens and one camera. Like that's, my bag's adequate. So what do I do with all this stuff? So I'm like, just scoop it into this box and just put it here. Well, 4 of those later, all of a sudden you're like, Jesus Christ, I have so much of this stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that, whatever. And there's one box that's like kind of since I moved here and then did like when I moved into my house a long time ago. And then I got set up, but then I did like further clean out, but it's stuff like I don't need this right here, right now, but I don't really have anywhere to put it. So it's like it's still like a moved box for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
That one, I'm okay now, but that one's sort of like, what? I don't know any better thing to deal with this. And I'm giving it like another 5 years and it'll just finally be it's sat there now for a decade.
Right.
Throw it away. And I will.
Put on like right on the side of it, like if still here by 2024, throw it away.
So this office cleanout though has been, it's really been because of it. basically, from what you can see in the shot here, it only needed to look empty. It didn't have to be. And you can see there's really like space where, like over here, my 2 golf bags. And I said, I kind of want the Tour Edge one, which I still don't love, but there's a like technical reason that I have them set up the way I do. And I said, you can't, this isn't a good setup. I need to rearrange how these bags all are. Oh, and I thought I had this other Ian Poulter bag. I'm like, yeah, you can't even, why do I have this thing to hide off camera? I might as well just put it back there.
Right.
So in the effort to make all of that happen, rearrange these bags, that's where the whole giant office clean out took place. That said, man, I found a ton of treasures, just treasures. For instance, a good handful of cool head covers and putter covers that I forgot I had. I'm like, I got rid of those a long time ago. Like,
that's legitimately cool. Yeah.
And 2 of which might be able to sell for like $350 a piece.
Oh, so wow.
I sent a few texts. I go, hey, hard to tell on the internet because they're fairly rare. Anyone got an idea of the going rate on these? So that was nice.
That's fun.
Man, I cleaned out 5 true Lynxwear shoe bags out of my office. And that's, mind you, that's more from the, like, I took the shoes out, after taking pictures of me, like took the shoes out. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go play with them. And somehow buried the bag or stuffed it into something, like the softer ones. Sure. So had a bunch of those. This one is just flat out kind of embarrassing. I was talking to my wife about it because I don't really have. I said like I need a drawer or like a shelf somewhere that's just like golf doodads, right? Like I have extra laces for a pair of golf shoes. I have, like I have over here a tech rangefinder from forever ago. Like, what am I have this old rangefinder because I switched to my Nikon. Like, they're not in that, like, you put them in your underwear drawer, but like where you don't just like throw it away or whatever. So I'm like, it just ends up finding space in my office where it's like, I just need a big giant chest or drawer. It's like, you looking for rangefinders? You're looking for a small training aid?
Here you go.
What random little golf thing are you looking for? Yeah. And so because of this, I found no less than 4 pairs of sunglasses.
Were one of them my pair? The ones that I wear, those Under Armour ones? Did you ever get a pair of those?
No, never did. Never.
You didn't?
I've never in all my years have had an Under Armour Connect. So no Under Armour glasses.
Oh, the only reason you have to go to the PGA show and they're handing them out like they're koozies.
Oh, I refuse to do that. So no, I don't have those. But a couple pairs of Oakleys, a pair of Electrics, a pair of Revos.
Oh my God, Electrics.
Yeah.
Are those still a thing?
Yeah.
Are they?
Electric golf, man. It's actually fairly big, and I loved them. They used to work. I'm trying to think of if it was with this site. I worked with a PR person for them. And then that company stopped doing their PR, and I've had a hard time cracking it ever since. And it's like my 2 favorite pairs of sunglasses are Electric. So
really,
I'm like,
I sort of wrote them off when I saw who their Instagram influencer was, and I was like, all right,
for golf,
yeah,
I might have to go do some research on the show. I don't know who it is, and don't say it. Don't say a name. Don't say it.
No, I won't. I'll let you. I'll see when I discover. Okay, I'll just let you find the person. And I'll tell the story when I discover this person. Like, is this is real? Like I was maybe I was just naive to the whole golf influencer thing at the time. But anyways, continue on.
So anyway, and I really like them, and I'm absolutely going to be looking this up because I feel like I see them now. They post a lot, but they don't really push any single person.
Yeah, they may not be doing it anymore, but I remember the first year I went to the PGA show, there was like a billboard of the guy. And I was like, is that? And then I went, so of course I was like, oh, all right, let's check this dude out, And then I was like, whoa, this is weird, man. And I think that was my introduction to the whole golf Instagram world. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'll probably be texting you post show.
Okay.
I knew him from way back when. I used to listen to a show on Sirius XM of a former skateboarder, and he was sponsored by them, and he ended up turning out to be fairly dicey individual, and I no longer enjoyed his show, unfortunately. Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I love those glasses. But yeah, so the cleanout's been great, and most importantly, I found that a friend via the old website, I remember I put this together after I talked to you, ended up with like if you recall, Graham McDowell had a clothing line with a company called Cartel.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, I don't remember, but he lives down in Florida, so he knows a bunch of people in golf. And he's like, hey, I have these Graham McDowell like tour sponsored embroidered GMAC by Cartel shirts. Do you want any of them? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take a few. So he sent me them, and they're like European medium, which, I mean, even when I was like a super like thin, lanky high school kid, I haven't fit a European medium probably since I was in 6th grade. And I want to remind you, I was 6 foot, 150 pounds when I graduated high school. Like, still didn't fit. So I'm not saying I'm like, oh, I have these. Like, I knew I had them at some point, kind of a thing. They just out of sight, out of mind. And so when I dug those, I mean, they're still in the plastic bags and everything. They're
I know, it's just crazy,
brand new. So I go, I know a guy who is just nice and dainty. And I texted it, Kris McEwen, said, hey, man.
Yeah, and I love McDowell, man. I love Graham McDowell, so that works out well for me.
So hopefully,
I'm very happy about that.
I'll see.
I hope they fit. I didn't know they were like European medium, so that they should be fine.
I'm sure you're adorable. They'll be fine. All right. So as the office clean out, what else? I don't know. Nephew Josh came and picked his clubs up. That was a good time tonight. Hey, Stuart Sink won a PGA tournament today.
I saw that.
Safeway Open. I didn't even know he was in. I mean, I didn't really watch any of the coverage. It's like I had it in my mind that the Tour Championship happened and then they went straight into Winged Foot for the U.S. Open.
I know. I was kind of the same way. Yeah. I watched a little bit of it this week. But
so they started talking about like the first round of the Safeway, and I'm thinking like, oh, God, I haven't been paying attention to the U.S. Open. I feel like the chatter's been quiet, and then it dawned on me it's not the U.S. Open. There was 2 weeks.
Well, Stuart Sink is right now your FedEx Cup leader.
Yeah, that's right. First tournament of the new season, even though the old season technically isn't over. I didn't think of that. So they just decided, you know what? I'm not even getting into it. Not even getting into it.
We're already 45 minutes into this thing. We don't have time for
the like.
We have a hard enough time breaking down the math of our own show, let alone the PGA Tour.
For what the hell the FedEx Cup is. But anyway, he won, and I'm not a big Stuart Sink guy. I appreciate the Sinks are a hockey family. Little known fact, I guess. I don't remember why, but I feel like at some point in the last decade, I decided I'm not a Stuart Sink guy anymore. I have ideas of why, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to bother trying to figure it out. But regardless, dude has had, I'm hesitant to say this, and it's probably not fair, and it's kind of mean, but a borderline nothing PGA Tour career for the last handful of years, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's not, I don't think, I mean, it's not the nicest thing to say about Stuart Sink, but it's also not wrong.
He also might go, really, my bank account says otherwise. I'm like, okay, fair.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. But,
But he's 47 years old, won the first tournament he's won since 2009, so 11-year drought.
Yeah.
The 2009 win he had, though, I can't remember exactly what, but it was another one like, some time had passed since he last won a tournament. It just so happened to be in 2009, the Open Championship.
Right.
It's fairly significant. So at the end of the day, he is a major winner and maybe the most lucrative of them all. Cool part of the story, had his son as his caddy for the tournament.
Yeah.
So there Lisa was, hugging and giving them both kisses after. I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah. And Stuart, I kind of told a good story about his son talking him out of a line on a putt. which is, and which is kind of cool. Like whatever, Stewart saw it going right, and his son was like, that's not going to go right. It's going to go left. And it was like a 30-footer or something that he sank on Saturday or whatever it was.
And the son's line was right.
Yeah.
How about that? So that's a good story. That's neat.
Yeah.
Not taking that away from him. Like you said, he's a FedEx leader. That's something.
That's right. But he won't be at the U.S. Open. He doesn't qualify.
Right. I love that. Oh, man. Speaking of who qualifies for what majors now, did you see anything with the ANA Inspiration today?
Well, I saw Christina Kim lighting people on fire on Twitter, which was amazing.
But that
was really it.
By the way, if you read that tournament used to be called the Dinah Shore, if you read her book, she loves that tournament more than any of them, I think.
Really?
So, hey, read that book.
You should read that book.
It is a good
Christina
book.
Kim is a treasure.
I got to tell you, though, it's like I feel like I'm going to get attacked when I see her lighting people up on Twitter. And I'm like, I'm not even tweeting at her, but it's like I just get scared. And so I go, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to see this anymore.
She told someone today to get off her dick. It's like the best. Everyone's coming at her because she's like, she's very accessible on Twitter, and she responds to people and has conversations. And last week it was about how she exited a bunker. People were giving her a hard time about that, even though she was right. And then today it was all about the backstop. So
that's what I was going to talk about. Yeah. I don't begrudge any player for what happened as a result of that backstop being there, because it's been there for everyone. My favorite part about it was, and this is true, and really, what's her name? Mira. It's like Mira Kim, something like that. Yeah. She won in a sudden death playoff with Brooke Henderson and Nelly Korda, and Brooke Henderson made the playoff because she had her second shot into that backstop, for lack of a better terms. Better terms, that sounded fine. And I mean, they couldn't find her ball because it went underneath it and didn't come out the other side. And at one shot, it's Brooke and a tournament official like lifting up the thing like they're going to look under to see it, and out comes her sister, who's her caddy, just pops out from underneath it looking for the ball. So then they end up, because if she got relief, no closer to the hole, it would have been behind the thing. Now she has the TOI in her way. So she ends up getting to drop in front of it. She gets up and down for birdie. She's in the playoffs. So she got in the playoff that way. I can't remember if it was for the win, because J-Riv was here at this point, and my son was out putting on his usual show for J-Riv, and I was watching on my phone, so I didn't see all of it. But I know one way or the other, whether it's for the girl who won it either winning or to get into the playoff in the first place, also got a favorable play off that backstop. Yeah. Well, what was the point of this backstop? And I forgot, one of the ladies on the broadcast pointed out, it served no functional purpose. In normal non-COVID times, it would have been a grandstand.
Yep.
And so that grandstand has come into play in this tournament before. So the idea was to simulate having that grandstand with no grandstand there. And because they did that, that's the only reason this girl ended up winning and not Korda or Henderson. And I would argue not because of Korda is the only one who got screwed because of the backstop.
Right.
Now,
she was the only one that didn't use it.
Unless she did in the other rounds, and I don't know. But the point is, it was there for 4 rounds, and anybody and their mother could have just slammed one into the side of that thing. Like, oh, I need relief. So I don't think it's fair to bash the winner of it. And I saw one tweet, like, put an asterisk by it. I'm like, all right, you're an idiot.
See, that was Christina Kim's point. She's like, dude, guys, what do you want me to do? I'm a player. I didn't put this tournament together. It's not my deal. Why are you coming to me with this? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
And
Get off my dick.
And
Christina Kim.
And a retired LPGA player, I saw a tweet from her, and she was like, yeah, okay, fine. You know what they need to do is they shouldn't have had that backstop, and they need to get rid of that grandstand there all together and bring it back, the tournament back to its roots. In its old days, that was basically finishing on an island green.
Yeah.
So players,
it's kind of awesome.
Players fly into that grandstand all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not an accident. They know they have that safety.
Yep.
So get rid of the whole thing. Now what are you going to do? You got to hit a good shot. You're a hell of a lot less people going for it in two because you have to stop a ball.
For sure.
So yeah, that was a thing. All right, man. It's been a pleasure. It's a good show today. Good talking to you.
It was a good show. I've missed you.
Oh my God, me too. Totally missed you. And now you're gonna be in Kansas City this week, and it's gonna be even worse. Maybe we'll do a show together next weekend. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
Should be able to. I'll be back.
So remember, you said that. Don't get mad at me when I bring it up.
The challenge is going to be editing this one and getting it posted on time.
You're fine. You're a pro.
It's true.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Like we asked earlier, do us a favor. Go subscribe. Like this thing, all right? But thanks for sticking with us.
Head over to drivingrangeheroes.com and read all of the reviews that we have just covered today.
Yeah, and more. And more.
All
right. Everybody, Kris, thanks for participating today. We'll talk to you next week. Talk to you later, Kris.